Hello and welcome to Boomer Live, ladies and gentlemen. And here we are to talk about New Zealand versus Sri Lanka. Now, when we left you guys after the preview, we were almost certain as to where the game was heading. With 3 wickets being down from there on, it just fell. Just fell a lot like a building of just a building which is not having a good base. After it was Kushal Perera's wicket, you all knew it was just gonna go down. But yeah, credits to Tikshana and Madhushanka for holding one end up. Had a good partnership of 43 odd, which got them to 172. Or else that could have also been a 130, 140 odd chase. But nonetheless, New Zealand chasing it down under 25 overs. That also means one thing. That's why we are here for today, not New Zealand's qualification. Pakistan's hopes have certainly been shattered because Pakistan really wanted New Zealand to lose the game firstly, and to make sure even if they're losing the game not by the biggest of margin, they shouldn't have won it. At least last ball finish was what they would have liked ideally, but it wasn't to be. New Zealand finished the game off pretty quickly and gave a very stiff target to Pakistan, which is that they will have to win the game by 287 odd runs or win the game by 15 balls. So it's just crazy right now. I have Jaren with me. Jaren, what did you make of the match? I mean, it was just reckless cricket from Sri Lanka to start off with.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were no words because obviously I have to say New Zealand balled really good line and length. But again, it just seems like, Sri Lanka sometimes completely implode when they lose their 2 wickets or 3 wickets
Yeah.
quickly. And today you saw a lot of this, a lot of basic errors like not, for example, the mistake wicket of, I think it was Pathum Nisanka where he drove a ball which was not even that full, which is actually a back of the line delivery. You had to play, maybe play more square than what he tried to play on the front foot as well. Chamika Karunaratne playing, I think it was a full length Yorker delivery or half volley delivery, where his front foot was on the crease, so he was completely stuck inside the crease. I know he's not obviously a pure batter, but a lot of these mistakes, right? Kusal Pereira, he did play well, but he kept throwing his hands at everything, even despite having lost close to 4 wickets already by the time he departed. I think it was just it was a highlights package of Sri Lanka's World Cup batting in this. I think it was a highlight package of Sri Lanka's overall campaign this match. With their batting absolutely flopping again, their bowling not being a threat except for Madhushanka. I think that was just it. This whole match, if you haven't caught any of Sri Lanka's matches, just watch the highlights, and that's pretty much Sri Lanka's highlight for the whole World Cup.
Absolutely, I agree with you because it just looked like a Sri Lankan team who had no clue whatsoever what was happening. A team which was low in confidence, a team which just fell apart quite badly, and that's the most important thing what we're going to be talking about. How did you think this team could even sustain today with that model or that approach? I mean, you just saw he spoke about it after 4 wickets having been fallen when Sri Lanka got out. We were over in this live stream saying that maybe Kushal Pereira will have to change his approach, be more circumspect, be more pragmatic in his approach. But no, it wasn't to be. He wanted to keep going. He wanted to take that extra bit of aerial route, and he fell in the very next over, which I thought was hideous cricket, ridiculous cricket from a batter to play in such a manner. I mean, it'll come off, but then if you would have given more time, it's a 50 over game at the end of the day. You still can bide your time and you can still score big on in Bangalore. No, you
Absolutely,
saw towards the
absolutely.
latter end, there was nothing for the bowlers. That's one of the reasons why you saw Tikshana and Madhushanka
Yeah.
build that partnership.
No, I mean that's what I said in the live as well, Abel. That the first 10 overs were tough because there was Tim Southee, Trent Bolt were getting slight bit of movement, but unfortunately, or I don't know, fortunately, depending on which side you supported today, it just seemed like they felt they had the need. I think it was so I think if you look at this match and the Bangladesh match, right? The one thing that you realize again in the Bangladesh match, you felt like they were way too circumspect, way too cautious, very worried, and that hurt them. And today they were way too reckless. I think you should be brave when you play such matches, but bravery doesn't mean recklessness. Bravery does not mean complete loss of fear. It means taking calculated risks. And today it just felt like maybe today was the one day you could have ended up scoring a 40 45 odd in the power play, even a 30 35 odd. And once that power play was done, you could have gone more aggressively. Now, I know Mitch Sandner the ball really well, and I know he would have been a threat regardless because the ball was turning. But having said that, you only would have to deal with him. Everyone else just felt like they were, I think Rachin Ravindra, Mitch Sandner were your two threats. But after the power play, once the ball got older, I don't think Trent Bolt or Tim Southee were that big a threat. And that's the reason why you would say that, they absolutely miscalculated a lot of things. And it's not even about miscalculation, even. It was utter show of, lack of technique and lack of composure, which is not what Sri Lankan cricket fans want from this team. And they've been going through transition long enough. It's almost time for this generation to take a step back and a new generation to step in. It just seems like those problems have not resolved, at least in this generation. We hope that the next generation of Sri Lankan cricketers that come forward grow in that stature. I think I felt maybe a Angelo Matthews and a Dhananjay De Silva will be able to do something, but even they really, did not show that maturity of being the two senior most cricketers in that team in that situation.
I agree. I agree. I mean, the dismissal of Angelo Matthews also was extremely poor to just to fend at the ball with
Yeah.
just a bat, just kept there without any intent. That really showed. Yeah, it was not good enough. The innings from Angelo Matthews also was very surprising. Similarly for Dhananjaya De Silva as well, another player who's entrusted with a lot of responsibilities in this team, and he's not come good in a long time. Let's be honest. I mean, he's not scrutinized enough, I feel, because he gets eclipsed in between a lot of these players who are there in that team. But now, if you talk about the largest scheme of things, when you talk about just the scheme of things, what New Zealand, what Sri Lanka will have to go through, will have to be a complete change in approach as to how do you really look into a white ball format like the 50 overs. What are the players you're going to invest upon, and how do you see it? I mean, are you going to strengthen your bowling? Are you going to bring in more technically sound batters, because the batters seem to be falling every time the ball starts moving? So that's a serious issue which they'll have to deal with, and they'll have to sort that out. And that's also transcending to a test format where they're not dominated outside home for a long while, or let it be alone at home as well. They've not really had success in at home as well. So these are factors which they'll have to consider. It's a larger picture which they have to look into right after the World Cup. But just talking about which, we'll have to talk about New Zealand here. I mean, let's just talk about New Zealand. How important a win this is, and right before the World Cup semi-final, I'm just gonna give them a lot of confidence.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big factors in this team in this match, obviously, is the fact that they played flawless cricket again. They're back to that New Zealand we saw in that first 3 to 4 matches early on, where you felt like this is going to be a top four, and they ended up almost, and they're pretty much in it. At this point in time, New Zealand have got what 1.5 feet in the semi-final berth, and a miracle will only save Pakistan at this point in time. An even bigger, impossible miracle will save, Afghanistan. So I think this kind of a match where they clinically finished. I know it came way too close. Probably would have been a haircut finish, a lot more close shave than they expected. But they did play well today. And today they were under pressure, having lost 4 games, having to perform. But this was a very clinical performance, a complete performance, and going up against India, probably the juggernauts they are. As an Indian fan, I'll still say that they can be beaten. But if I have to be in the New Zealand support group right now, I know they'll be worried for a lot of reasons, and for the right reasons, that India are favorites. India have utilized the conditions really well. So that's where you have to say it's going to be a tricky match for both India and New Zealand. So they have to be worried, yes, but this will give them a lot of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we will take some comments. Welcome Sandivani on the show as well. Abel wearing the moon to show solidarity with Pakistan. I agree. Pak solidarity right here. The moon which has been
He's a moon knight
eclipsed.
that they need.
Yeah, the moon night. So moon has been eclipsed by a black team. So obviously, that's yeah, that's the whole scenario which I have right now, and I think Pakistan can still qualify. I agree,
I think
Srinivani.
Pakistan can
I have a
still
sneaky
qualify.
feeling that Pakistan will score 400 off runs. 400 off runs. I don't know. You need 450 balls to score those as well. But yeah, Sanjay Mani, do you think Pakistan can still qualify?
Yeah, I think Pakistan can still qualify. I think the equation is they'll have to win by 288 runs or more
Yeah,
if
very
they're batting
less.
first.
Yeah.
And if they're bowling first, they'll have to chase down the total within 16 deliveries. That is
Yes.
2.4
No idea.
overs.
They're fuckers Zaman, the Superman, who will score
Yeah,
one
and I
ball,
think if they
12
can
runs.
restrict England to less than 30, maybe 16 deliveries
Yeah,
is
why
too
not?
much.
Score 300 runs, restrict
No,
England to
you know what
30.
the best part is
Why
now.
is
पर
it
See,
even
उनके
possible?
bowler तो
if they're
150
chasing,
plus
IDB
ball
tells
करते हैं
that they
भाई.
want
if they're chasing,
20
0 for
runs
10.
is too much.
I mean, if they're chasing, even one run above 96 is the end of Pakistan. Even
No, no, no.
anything,
I'll tell you,
Indians for
Pakistan will
97,
score
98.
288. 288, England will be all out for 0.
Yeah. I think Pakistan has the ability to score 300, 320. I think they can do that. And I think
Yeah.
England can get dismissed for 32 क्योंकि उनके पास 150 plus paces है 150 kilometers per hour से जो डाल
Which
सकते हैं
England has never faced.
consistently.
That is true.
Which England has never faced. Players like Harry Brooks are not accustomed to playing on roads.
No,
So
Josh Butler has never faced 150 plus. What are you saying, something? More
yeah, sorry. I
experienced
mean,
player.
I think this task was even impossible against Nepal, let alone England. So let's come back to reality. I think Kudraka and Nisam has made you all Dilulu with no Solulu. So that's what I'll say in a very Gen Z way. So let's make it very clear. You guys
No, I
are
think my
delusional.
Dilulu is the only Solulu is should be the tagline of a certain country.
I think
Exactly.
Afghanistan can still make it if they win by 410 runs. Why are you? I mean,
Why not? At
why
least
not?
No, I think that would
Afghanistan.
have been possible, Sandipani. I'll tell you when. If it was South Africa who were number 4, I would have said, yeah, it's possible. It's something that South Africa can manage. But with New Zealand, I don't know, man. I think their luck is still a lot better.
Trust me, man. I've not seen people go delusional over things over the last few hours. Even when they needed 10 runs to win with like 5 wickets remaining, they were like, there is 5 wickets going to happen. I trust in Angelo Matthews, the swing king. I was flabbergasted. I was like, and it's not spoken by a random fan. I'm talking about cricket legend like Mohammad Yusuf sitting there and talking this. I mean, I couldn't
I think
believe it.
Mohammad Yusuf can be a bit, I mean, lost in his own thoughts, and he was a great player in his own right. So I think he has that leeway of being a bit lost. I think he was watching some other game.
I have no idea. But let's just talk about the scenario,
No,
right?
also I think it's it's
Ronnie.
it's legit. I mean for players like Mohammad Yusuf to believe that way, it is sort of legit because the way Sri Lanka actually bored us towards the later end of the game, 91 ball 38, 40 odd ball 16 runs. I think that was one of the best partnerships of the World Cup. I think everybody was on the verge of throwing stuff on their TV sets, and I think it was one of a kind knock from Mahish Thikshana. I think it was a brilliant, brilliant knock. He displayed courage and played out 91 deliveries in a game when none of the New Zealand players, I mean, if you combine even two players, two of New Zealand players, they won't even add up to 91 deliveries. So I think Mahish Thikshana really applied himself, but I think he forgot that this was not a test game.
But it was a very well applied innings. So let's just appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Otherwise, this could have well
way
been,
better.
yeah.
Yeah, it was way better than what their batters did. That's what I'm saying. I think it's time that Sri Lanka reverses their batting order. I think these lads can play against the new ball, be a little defensive, and then they get out by the end of, sixth over, seventh over, and then once the 10th, 11th over is done, then you have Dhananjay De Silva, Angelo
I
Matthews
think
coming
we
in the middle
ended the
order.
live. We ended our pre-match live at the right time. I mean, they were accelerating, and we knew once Angelo Matthews was at the crease. With all due respect to him, I think we knew what was about to
Oh, it
happen,
was a
and I think we started it.
horrendous. I slept during that whole Sri Lankan innings later on. It was just boring. I mean, trust me, it was
No, I
not
think
worth a minute of watching,
I'll
to
be
be
very
honest.
frank with you guys. After a match, I started playing a video game on the side, listening to the commentary. By the time the seventh, eighth
Yeah,
wicket fell,
exactly what I did. Exactly what
I
I did. I
just,
started playing a
yeah.
video game as well. But then I
I
got
think
bored of that
I
as well.
switched it back on when the New Zealand batting started because they were explosive and interesting. That's not to say it was a bad match. I
I
really have
think
to.
having, I think having said all, why are you displaying Bahadur's stats
I think
out
this
of
is
without
Kudrat
any
ka nizam
context?
that the stats has just come on our screen. But yeah,
So,
I'll
but
be
I,
very frank though. Credit has to be given to Tikshana. The way he played
yeah,
was a gutsy knock for a tail ender. He got battered, I think, if I'm not
yeah.
wrong, but hit in the chest was a lot more braver than what I saw from. I swear. I mean, 30 to 91. I know it was boring, but then
Uh-huh.
it showed a lot more grit and
Yeah,
courage
it,
than
it
what
did. It
we
did.
saw in the
Absolutely
first
it did.
half.
At
And I
least,
really was happy with that innings. I think it kind of pushed that Kudrat Ka Nizam motive a little bit more. But yeah.
Yeah, let's just look at the scenarios right now. No, the Kudrat Ka Nizam scenario, as they call it out for Pakistan. If they bat first, they will have to win by 287 runs, and if they chase, they'll have to dismiss England in 50 and chase in 2 overs. If they
I think
dismiss
they'll dismiss England
England,
within 30 runs, and then Fakhar Zaman will chase it in
okay, let's
six
just look at the
deliveries.
scenario in which they'll have to, dismiss England for 100 and chase in 3 overs, right? So every ball should go for six.
And Fakhar Zaman can do that, but the only problem is he can only hit 5 sixes in an over. Because if he gives the strike back to, say, a Babar Azam or Abdullah Shafiq, I think Pakistan can book their tickets to the airport.
Yeah,
No,
so
you have to also realize if Sandeep, that even if he does attempt that sixth one, then
now,
Abdullah Shafiq has to
what are
give.
the odds that Pakistan will win this game? Let's be
You
honest.
never know, guys.
They're
You
playing
never
an
know.
England team. It's not a mere, they're not playing against some random team, PNG, Nepal or
Yeah.
Uganda or Somalia. Now, they're playing an England team, right? England is not there to simply get pushed over. Now, what are the chances that England will win this game and Pakistan?
But I'll tell you a very, very
completely
interesting
taken out?
scenario. If England does go on to lose by some 287, 288 runs, suddenly they're out of the Champions Trophy race as well. I think even if Bangladesh or Sri Lanka loses in their last encounter as well, they'll still go on to, I mean, Sri Lanka already lost their last encounter.
Oh yeah, I
And
mean,
Bangladesh and Netherlands can make it through if England go on to lose by 288 odd runs.
yeah, it's an interesting thing, Sandipani. Here now, today Pakistan needed Sri Lanka to help them. Now tomorrow, Sri Lanka needs Pakistan to help them to batter England's net run rate.
I think none of that
for
is
them
going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe it is a scenario where Sri Lanka get what they want, but Pakistan still doesn't get what they want. Could be possible. It's still there in the cards.
I agree with you on that. But let's just be more practical over here, right? What are the chances that England can win this game? I mean, we're just
I
writing
think a
England
lot
off
of
like
chances,
this.
people. England comes into this match, with not a lot to lose. One.
As Butler
Secondly, they
mentioned
only need to
yesterday, they're
win
like,
it.
before we leave the Indian shows, they want to put up a performance.
Yeah.
And I think they'll be extremely motivated to go out there and express
Yeah.
themselves.
I think
And
Butler will also be
one
angry
of the big
because I
advantages
don't
at this
think
point
the
in time-
translation that Babar Azam did in the pre World Cup campaign where he was trying to explain what Rohit Sharma said to George Butler was accurate. I think he has come to know that all the memes are made, and I think he'll be very, very angry and hungry for blood, and he'll go after Pakistan.
Yeah, I agree on that. Because it is just disrespecting the English team as well that you're not even regarding them as an opposition here.
No, I mean it's going to be absolute. It would be the most absurd miracle in cricketing history. If this happens, 2027 World Cup magic moments. Every England Pakistan game is going to be this video of England losing to Pakistan in such a way. I think how would Pakistan wish that they had India's matchup where they just wish it was
You
Netherlands
guys
again.
remember 2019 World Cup when Pakistan had to qualify to upbeat New Zealand's net run rate? It was the last game against Bangladesh, and they had to win by close to 400, 500 runs, if I remember.
No, wasn't it against West Indies?
No, it was against Bangladesh because Pakistan had lost to West Indies in that World Cup. So,
Yeah.
so they had to score some 400, 500 runs. What happened was they ended up scoring 315 and Bangladesh scored 287, 288 odd. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Once again, it was New Zealand who.
And Jerin, you're
came
saying
there.
that you're asking that it would have been better if they would have gotten India's matchup of Netherlands, but I think they managed only to score some 270 odd runs against Netherlands itself. So I
Yeah.
think that wouldn't have helped them either.
Yeah, no, I saw some of the things as to India's match against Netherlands was organized in such a way that India gets easy opposition to win a match in the end. Come on, man. I mean, what are you talking about?
Could have been an argument if it was a group-based tournament.
I mean, this is
We
by
also
very
had
round
prominent
robin.
journalists.
It's a
I'm not
round
kidding.
robin.
This is by very prominent journalists in Pakistan who tweeted this. India scheduled their match in such a way that if India are in
I
trouble,
mean,
they
you
can
lose
defeat
a lot of
Netherlands by-
credibility once you mention it's a journalist in Pakistan.
I agree with that. But on that regard,
Yeah.
at least, because I was pretty shocked. I mean, now they're behind the scheduling factor of it. They were like, our match is supposed to happen on 11th of November. Now, 11th of November is very auspicious for us in comparison to 12th. What is auspicious? Diwali? I don't think Pakistan celebrates Diwali there. So, I don't know what the auspicious is all about. It's crazy, man. I mean, can't believe. I mean, just because it's a Friday, they think it's they think they can do it. I think Friday's at 10th rather than 11th, right?
Yeah,
So
it's 10th
doesn't make
tomorrow.
anything. Yeah, they wanted on 10th, not on 11th, because that was rescheduled, right? It was supposed to
Yeah.
be on 12th or something of that sort. I think it was rescheduled. So it just doesn't make any sense to me at this point. It just looks like bunch of people
I think
sitting
that they
there.
shouldn't play really go on and play cricket. I think they should stick to astrology, numerology, and decide all these things. And
Okay, now let's
probably
just
not.
talk about New Zealand in the semi-final, right?
Yeah.
Uh, New Zealand, Australia, India are the three teams who made to consecutive semi-finals since 2015. The only one change you saw in 2019 was England came in, and that's out. So these three teams have been very consistent. If you look at the last three World Cups,
Absolutely, yeah.
in terms of making it to semi-finals, and I have no iota of doubt that Pakistan are not making. That's why I'm saying New Zealand have made it to the
And I
semi-finals.
think this is the same combination as the 2015 World Cup. You have New
It is.
Zealand,
It is.
South
Just the
Africa, India,
opposition have
Australia.
changed here and there,
Yeah.
and India faced New Zealand once again in a semi-final. How do you see it, guys? How do you see it from this prism now? Are we in for it or are we not? How do
See,
you
I
see
think
this?
the only thing concerning me right now as an Indian fan will be probably the new ball and Trent Bolt picking up 3 wickets today. Wankhede, if India does go on to lose the toss and if New Zealand bats first and put some 200-300 odd runs at Wankhede, then under the lights we have seen batters dance around under the lights, and Trent Bolt being in the form that he is going to be a huge concern.
Yeah.
And I
I
think
mean, we
then
saw
the
that
approach
today,
shouldn't
right? The
be to
Trent
attack.
Bolt who balled today in a Chinnaswamy wicket
Yeah.
was extremely potent because his lines which he balled to left-handers today.
You
Dude, he
give him
was
the option
just
of
so
bowling under
hard to
lights
get him
at
out.
Wankhede, and I think then you should be scared. Not
Yeah,
Dharamshala.
I think
absolutely.
Trent Bolt in a good rhythm,
Absolutely.
any pitch, any time of the day is going to be dangerous because if he picks up a couple of wickets or 3 wickets up front, we're already in a back foot, regardless of what time of the
No,
day it
I
is.
think Abel today it wasn't as I'm not saying Ten Bolt balled badly when he balled a very good spell, but I think it is also the lack of technique from Sri Lankan batters. I think if you look at the dismissals, right, that he got, I think the first one, that he got was Kusal Mendes, where it was a catch of the slip if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
He went hard at that delivery. He wasn't supposed to be, wasn't, and he did not even come forward enough. Wasn't a length in which you come forward. The one where Samara Vikrama stuck in the crease was the length where you had to come forward. So I think I think sorry, it was Asalanka where was stuck in the crease, and Samara Vikrama he went too hard at the ball, despite having a slip, despite being a new ball. If you're, I think one of the factors that they say in cricket is your hand should never cross your front foot when you're playing a front foot push until and unless you're playing an aggressive shot, and your head shouldn't fall over. And in that case you saw he pushed at the ball way too in front of that front foot pad, because it obviously means you're going way too hard at the ball. You're pushing at the ball, and that's the reason why he got the catch. I think Indian batters will not be as easy to beat. I'm not saying that it's not possible. A bad day or a bad shot is possible for every player. But I think Indian batters will not easily break down as the Sri Lankan
I
batters
think
have. It's
one
been a
major factor, Matt
pattern.
Henry not being there is a big up for them. Though Tim
Hmm.
South has troubled us, but it's majorly been in test format in any other format. So not having Matt Henry will really nullify a lot of threat. But it's also going to be about how we handle Mitch Sandler in the middle overs. If we can nullify Trent Bolt up front, and if we can handle Mitch Sandler, I think India will be in a better position.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't think Mitch Santner will be that much of a threat at Wankhede.
Yeah.
I understand. I mean, the boundaries will be short as well. But the most important thing is going to be the start. And no matter what you're doing, you're chasing or you're batting first. We have seen teams struggle early on at Wankhede in the first 10-15
Absolutely.
overs, where
Yeah.
they tend to lose quite a few wickets, and India have done that in the past. India lost quite a few wickets against Australia in the power plays. They lost 2 wickets in the power plays against Pakistan, even though there was no scoreboard pressure, but they did go on to lose 1 or 2 wickets. 1 wicket against Sri Lanka, there were 2 drop chances at Wankhede itself. So I think it's not going to be very easy, and also you have to understand that I mean, Trent Bolt is a far superior bowler than a Dilshan Madhushanka. I'm not taking credit away from Madhushanka, but it's a given fact. And when the
Yeah.
occasion is big,
Absolutely.
you'll have players like Mitchell Santner, and I understand the main I mean the or the strategy of Mitchell Santner or a Rachin Ravindra is just going to be to build pressure. Because even if you remember the 2019 semi-final clash between India and New Zealand, Mitchell Santner was, I think, one of the most economical bowlers. Trent Bolt and Matt Henry towards the end, towards the second spell or third spell, they
Yeah.
went for quite a few runs. But
Yeah.
it was Mitchell Santner's 10 overs that only cost us what, some 20-25 runs he considered. Today also he just considered 22 runs of the 10 overs. So I think that is what Mitchell
Hmm.
Santner will be looking to do. And if we
Yeah.
can do that, if we can build that pressure, wickets will come anyway. And India will be a bit conservative because they don't have that depth in batting as much as New Zealand
I
or
think
say,
India. I've been talking about more than India. I think today has been New Zealand game. I think for
yeah.
New Zealand as well, they'll know if you get their openers, they'll be in a little bit of a trouble because Rachin Ravindra has been one of the pivotal factor in
And I think
Yeah.
we'll
why
have to give
they
it to
score a lot
Rachin
of runs
Ravindra
in the
Rao.
World
Now
Cup.
he is the leading run scorer of this tournament,
Yeah,
565 runs. I know Quinton de Kock and Kohli still has a game to go, but 565, and if New Zealand does go on to beat India in the semi-finals and goes to the finals, he'll still have two games to beat Tendulkar's record, all-time World Cup high-scoring record of another. He needs another 109 runs of two innings,
Yeah.
potentially two innings or one inning. But he
yeah. I
has
hope.
had one of those breakthrough seasons, and not just a breakthrough season, he has had one of the best seasons. And I think Devon Conway, after the golf practice, finally came came to the party, scored some 40 odd runs. That will do his confidence a whole lot of good. And
Yeah.
also there was I mean, Daryl Mitchell has been that consistent player for New Zealand all around. Another 43 of 31 deliveries will once again give him a lot of confidence. And
Yeah.
then you have they bat deep. They have a Mark Chapman who is a proper batsman coming in at number 7 for you under normal circumstances.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel bad for one person in this team. That's Tom Latham. I really don't see utility of him in this team at all, to be honest. I mean, he's dropping catches as a gloveman. He's not getting a proper chance as a batter there. To be very fair, if Jimmy Neesham is fit and if Devon Conway can keep wickets, I would drop a Tom Latham against India. Though he has got a phenomenal record against India in particular, I think you would be
Yeah.
very tempted to drop a Tom Latham. And if you look, I remember 2017, there was a one-day match between India and New Zealand in Wankhede, where India scored 320 odd, but it was Ross
Yeah.
Taylor and Tom Latham who kept
19, I think
sweeping
it was later, not 17,
17,
18,
17.
19
It
was
was 17,
17.
17. I remember that very clearly. It was Kuldeep and Chahal who were bowling, and they kept sweeping them both. They chased it down with like 8 or 7 wickets in hand. I mean, that's what we're talking about, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Ross Taylor was a phenomenal factor. He used to always step up in big games. We knew about that. And Tom Latham is another guy who loves sweeping against spinners. I think for this very reason, I think he might just get the nod ahead for the semi-final as well.
Absolutely. I think I'll agree with you on that. I think it's also because he has been contributing really well as well. So I think it's also I think just going back to the New Zealand factor, I think their major issue has also been that the middle order has really not carried this team, right? If you look at the batters, I think if you remove Daryl Mitchell, and if you look at the team, right, I think you'll realize that there are not many batters. I think Kane Williamson coming in is a very good deal for them. Today also you saw that it was how important his innings was. I think if he had carried on, it would have been even more clinical. But I think Daryl Mitchell, Kane Williamson, Rachin Ravindra, and Devon Conway, these are your 4 wickets that you should get probably by before 30th, 25th over. To be very frank, if you have to put New Zealand under pressure. And the reason I say that is because I think the other lads have struggled to play the long game. Even a Rachin Ravindra, I think you can put him under pressure by removing the other three, but he's got that fire in him to keep coming at you again and again and again. So I think if these 4 guys are out in that before the 25th, 30th over mark, then the pressure comes on a Jimmy Neesham or on a
Yeah,
Glenn Phillips to play the kind of innings they don't like playing. They're not those kind of batters. And
yeah,
right after they are dismissed, then you have a Mitch Santner come in. Not every day you'll see him perform, where suddenly this team is in, where he's playing a 40, 45, 50
hmm,
ball knock. Don't see that with Mitch Santner as well. So that is the
that's
one way to go. And that's a way to go to make sure, New Zealand struggles.
I agree with you. There's a question from Muzzle over here. He asks us, "Do you guys think Pakistan deserves to be in the semi-final?" And he also says it's nonsensical and stupid to bring Kudrat Khan Nizam. So, what do you have to say about this, on the
It's
money? Does Pakistan deserve to be in the
it's
semi-final?
I mean, more than what we think they deserve or not. I think answer question is whether they will qualify to the semifinals. And right now, I think they are not going to qualify, whether they deserve or not. We are in no way. I don't think we are qualified enough to answer whether they deserve to be qualify or not. But from whatever cricket we have seen, I think it was some really mediocre cricket in the middle out there. They had a chance to win against South Africa, and on the hindsight, if you just see if they would have just had their captaincy right in the 4 games that they lost on the trot, probably the game against Afghanistan and the game against South Africa are really going to cost them. Because the game against Australia as well, they were in contention for quite some time, but then the middle order batters played some mediocre cricket. In the game against South Africa, you saw that the batters really did not apply themselves. There was a negative impact knock from the uh, Bobby Batshaw himself. And in the game against Afghanistan, I think it was just poor application of bowling, and in the field they were poor as well. And throughout the tournament, I don't think that they have portrayed the energy or displayed the energy that a world champion should have. And even in the last 2 games that they won, I think will have to give a lot of credit to Fakhar Zaman, because most of those 2 games have been a single-handed effort. Mohammad Wasim Jr. is running in and cleaning up the tail towards the end, and Fakhar Zaman is doing the job with the bat. Apart from that, I don't think Pakistan has too many positives going into the England game.
Absolutely. Azil also asks us another question. He asks, genuinely, who is the fourth best team of the tournament, regardless of the ranking? It's a very interesting question, Nitin. I mean, who, according to
Hmm.
you, is the fourth best team of this tournament? I mean, as per the ranking, it's New Zealand, or could be Pakistan, or could be anyone. Who, according to you, is the fourth best team of the tournament?
I think there are two ways to look at it. Obviously, one is the quality of cricket, and the other is, how far that effort or how far the result that has come out and the end of it. I think New Zealand has been the fourth best team in terms of quality of cricket that they have performed really well. It was a small blip. I think when they lost those 4 matches, they played against what, three of the best teams in this
I mean, if
tournament.
you look at those four
Aside from
matches,
them,
couple of
yeah.
times they scored in excess of 350, 370 odd.
Exactly. So they did. It's not it was like completely bad game for them, and they lost against South Africa, Australia, and India. They were obviously three of the best teams in the World Cup. So I think no one will question that. But if you look on it from the other perspective, right? If you look at who punched above their weight, you have to say Afghanistan has been that story of the tournament, regardless of the fact that they missed out. They have been the story of the tournament. The fact that they performed so well, almost reached the semifinals, if not for a few mistakes here and there, which you can understand. We've spoken about this before. It's the legacy
Yeah,
that counts, right? Next year, now that they've come so close, next year they'll believe that they can make it. And I know
yeah,
next
they
year will be
can.
tougher for them because it's going to be played in Zimbabwe, Namibia, and South Africa. So it's
Yeah.
going to be a lot tougher, especially South African wickets. But I think Zimbabwean wickets, I don't know. We don't know
But
about
if
the
you look, South
schedule.
African wickets do turn these days, to be very honest. If you
Yeah,
see
because
their
of the lack
schedules.
of water in the cities, main
Yeah,
cities now.
yeah.
All three
So
cities, Johannesburg, Pretoria, Cape Town, have struggled to water their pitches because of the lack of water in those cities. So
I don't know
you're right
what is the
about it.
condition going to be to it done in 2027, but if you have just
No, but
taken
I think
account what's
Afghanistan
happening
has
right now,
improved a lot in terms of their bowling as well, the pace bowling that is, because if you compare their performance in this tournament to some of the past performances, I think Fazalak Faruqi, Navinul Haq, and even Azmatullah Umarzai have been very impressive. No matter what they do off field or whatever camaraderie they share with the other players or teammates, but I feel that they have done a brilliant job, and I think Alan Donald is their bowling coach,
no,
and I
no,
think
no,
he
no.
does.
That's
He's not.
Bangladesh.
That's
That's
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
But who is the Afghanistan's bowling coach?
I don't know who's their bowling coach, but I know Jonathan Trott, Ajay Jadeja,
Yeah,
and
Jonathan Trott is the head coach, and I think they have
Oh,
Ajay
it's
Jadeja as their
Hamid Hassan.
mentor.
If you guys remember that fast bowler 2015 World
Hamid
Cup.
Hassan, yeah, with the
Yeah.
with the
Yeah,
I
the
headband.
know.
hairband, the war paint.
Yeah,
What
the
is it?
Afghan flag guy.
So I
Yeah.
think he's doing a spectacular job, and I think he needs a shout out. I mean, we are nobody to give him a
Yeah.
shout out, but I think he has performed brilliantly, and I think they have improved leaps and bounds in this tournament. And also, I think they have themselves to blame. I think this was the
Yeah,
best chance that they had. They had Australia on the ropes, and the way in which they could have beaten Australia was probably they could have won by say another 150 or 200 odd runs. But unfortunately for them, they didn't grab the opportunity that they had, and finally they will not finish in the top four. But I think they have had a dream run. But for me, the fourth best team has been South Africa. I think New Zealand are a better team than South Africa. And it's just that South Africa has been batting themselves to wins.
Fourth best team has been
They,
South Africa. So
Yeah,
who's
I
the
think
third
I
best?
just want to apologize for the phone in the middle. Babar Azam had called me asking for tips for tomorrow's match. I told him after the live. He likes to
Bob,
watch also. Yeah.
Bobby just
Yeah.
called Jaren to
King,
ask
no,
for
I
king.
think
tips.
Rizwan
I
was
don't
asking
think
for
I can
script.
even win by 287 runs on Cricket 07, man. Let's be honest, it's too hard. Or to defeat a team by
No,
13
no,
No,
runs.
I think
I
you
think
can. You
Janin is
can.
lying over
If
there.
you play
I don't
against
think Babar
Zimbabwe,
Azam.
1-star difficulty, you can.
Yeah, no, but I still feel the quality that Babar Azam has. I don't think he'll ask Janin for tips. I think Rizwan, on the other hand, is one player who will be asking for a script that he needs to perform in the game against England. The amount of
Yeah, I mean,
dancing, the amount of
I did
But to
tell
be
crying.
Babar
honest,
that Rizwan has to,
Mark Wood, if he's gonna play, he's gonna give a tough time to these Paki batters.
No, I don't think so, Abel, because they know how to play pace.
Yeah.
Pakistan batters have never struggled against pace, and they've never
Come on,
struggled
man. They
to hit
face 150
150.
plus kilometers per hour on the nets. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I don't
exactly.
understand. They face their own ballers in the nets, right? Then I don't know,
Oh,
man.
I think if you guys have seen the ICC's reel, right, on the Pakistani Pacers, I was just looking at their batters, and I'm not saying the Pakistani Pacers are bad ballers, but the batters looked like they were absolutely at sea. If you guys want, just check out those ICC reels
They
on
probably
Pakistani
ask
Pacers.
Morne Morkel to give them throwdowns at his age.
Yeah,
I
They
think he
do.
comes
I
in and
just
goes at
saw
130,
how
135.
Rizwan was jumping here and there when Moni was bowling on a. Moni was doing a
Yes,
half run up and
yes, yes.
just releasing the ball, and
Yeah.
Rizwan was all around the place. Firstly, he's a leg side bully. Let's be honest about
No,
that.
I
I
think
don't
I was
even know
just
how he.
wondering when you said that now, it just made me realize. Imagine them facing a prime South African world number one test team.
Yeah, they did face, and they got 42 all out in South
Yeah,
Africa. If I remember,
yeah,
Dale
yeah.
Steyn, Mohammad Hafiz, who's now a Twitter star, had no idea what was happening. He
Oh,
just kept up that.
Mohammad
I
Hafiz
think
had so many opportunities to beat India in the ICC tournaments as well. I think over there as well, he had no impact.
no, he did against India in the Champions Trophy. He scored
Mohammad
for 40.
Hafiz, yes, he was a good thrower, very good arm. He
Choker.
could
Yeah,
bend a
yeah.
little bit.
I think it was a tweet by. I was just gonna say this by. I mean, I think it was Michael Waugh. He said, I know how you are so good at throwing these tweets," and there was just a press
Yeah.
conference, press release of ICC banning.
I mean, Pakistan had good bowlers. I even thought Shoaib Akhtar chucked a lot, but they told it to be
No,
hyperextension of
but
arm.
coming back to the question of Azil, I think for me the best team has been India so far, and I think Australia has been a close second. Not a close second. I mean, they started off poorly, but from then on they have picked up, and they have looked very very. They haven't looked invincible. The old Australia, they haven't looked like that, but they have had players coming out and putting their hands up when the team needs them the most. And I think the third best team has been New Zealand in terms of all round balance. And if you talk about, I mean, composure, I think they were very, very close to beating Australia as well. They had a good game against India. Pakistan, I think that you can still call them unlucky for the rain coming in and that sort of a knock from Fakhar Zaman. I think the only game where New Zealand has really struggled was the game against South Africa, ironically. But South Africa have looked really, really, I mean, in all over the places when they're batting second. They have batted second in 3 of the games, and they have lost two out of them, and the one which they won against Pakistan, they were this close to losing. And it will be interesting to see what they do in their last game against Afghanistan as well. If Afghanistan have already beaten England, putting up a good strong total in the past, and they had Australia on the ropes as well. So I think South Africa has been the fourth best team, according to me, that is, and I feel Australia will get the job done against them in the semi-finals.
Absolutely, absolutely. But if you have to just talk about Afghanistan as well, do you think at some point or stage, maybe 1 year, 2 years down the line, that one catch will be something they'll come to haunt them
Obviously,
by saying that we are just one catch away from the semi-final?
Absolutely. Yeah.
obviously. I mean, it's a
I mean,
no-brainer.
they dropped the World Cup twice, is what I would say.
I mean, yeah, in hindsight, obviously,
Yeah.
but if you have to just talk about that whole run, if you just talk about
Yeah.
Afghanistan, the whole run, this is the best IC tournament they've ever participated in.
Oh, definitely.
2020 World Cup, I thought, yeah,
And
but
they
I
were
mean,
on red hot fire form, because if you just think
2015, they
Afghanistan
just
had
won a
just the
match.
one win. Yeah,
Yeah, they
I
had
think
only won a
Afghanistan had.
match
Got
in
it. Go
2015,
ahead.
and
Yeah.
2019 they were absolutely battered.
Yeah.
And then 2023 they end up winning what? They come so close to semi-finals.
Yeah.
And you look at the teams like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, West Indies are not even in the World Cup. So in that
Yeah.
sense, you have to say they've grown leaps and bounds. But it's also got to do with the fact that they're playing in India in Asian conditions. They still have a long way to go before they start challenging teams in
See, I
foreign
think they
conditions.
were
Being an
unsuccessful
effort
in
of
the
happening in the
Australian
World Cup
campaign
is
and in the
important.
England campaign because they did not have quality pacers or quality seamers, and I think they
Yeah,
still they're still in making, because I still feel
absolutely.
Navinul
Yeah.
Haq and Azmatullah Umarzai are not finished products. They are still developing, and they'll say by the end of say by 2027 we'll get to see a better version of Navinul Haq and Azmatullah Umarzai as well. Having said that, I still feel the subcontinent conditions obviously give them the advantage. Also, they were on red hot form. They had won just the one game in the first after the first four encounters, and they were sitting at the bottom of the table, joint bottom of the table. But then suddenly you saw them winning three games on the trot, and they had Australia on the ropes as well.
No idea what to say. Let's just read that comment as it's posted. Babar Azam rejected Star Sports interview. That's King Babar for you. Yeah, that is King Babar for you. Only players like Virat players like Kohli, who are below par, will do such trashy interviews. Kings don't bow down. Now, how am I supposed to
I don't know
describe
if
this?
you've seen Star Sports interviews. You'll see Star Sports likes to bow down to Virat a lot. I've not seen a reverse any time, but I think I can understand. But it's Babar's choice. They don't want an interview. Fair enough. But it's not like players have rejected. I mean,
If
today
you if
Rachin
you give
Ravindra
an
was there.
interview, you'll have to talk about what went wrong in the World Cup, right? Babar Azam, I don't think has any answers. That will
Yeah, he
keep him
already
safe.
has a lot to answer
That
for
will keep him as
in
the
his
king.
home
I think
country.
Babar can only be the king if he does not give any interviews. If he starts giving interviews right now about the state of PCB, about why Pakistan are losing games, I think Babar will no longer be the king. He'll be dethroned in
No,
the next day itself.
Sandipani, I think as far as I'm getting, the reports that are coming out right now is the king might lose his throne in Test cricket. Sarfaraz might become the captain in Test cricket. That's so
Not sure
absurd.
about that. Not sure
And there
about
are
that.
reports. There are reports, of course, and that's the reason why I
I
said
think
there are
that is
reports.
not going to happen. There are reports, but I think as long as players like Rizwan and players like Babar Azam play, I don't see Sarfaraz Ahmed getting the captaincy back in Test cricket as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Babar Azam is better than your whole toilet mulk desh.
I don't think that deserves. I don't think we're gonna glorify that or give it any sort of recognition. That's a very bad thing to say. Come on, dude. We can
It
say so
doesn't
much
matter.
worse. Come on. I
I mean,
think
it's fine. It's based
Guys,
on
I know you
perspectives.
guys are very salty tonight. Just eat more salt. Oh,
And we
namak
can we can we
nahi.
can give him
I
that.
don't
We
think
can
you
give
have
him that
namak
because
in
I think
in
nothing is
your own
going on
markets.
good for them
It's
in terms of the World Cup.
anyways, you guys have been asking others for favor, not just in cricket, in other things as well in your own country. I don't even think you guys have salt or electricity there in your country. So why don't you ask for favors
No,
and have
but
a
I
keep
I
your
feel it's okay for them to be salty because anybody would have been, because nothing is going right for them in terms of like you said, cricket or otherwise. I think Pakistan are really struggling, and it's
but
sad to see.
I just request all the Pakistani fans, घबराना नहीं है, घबराना नहीं है. That's what Imran Khan says. Listen, कुदरत का निज़ाम अभी भी है. 2027 की वर्ल्ड कप साउथ
oh,
अफ्रीका नामीबिया जिम्बाब्वे में हो रहा है. जिम्बाब्वे का ऑटोमेटिक क्वालिफिकेशन है. सुन मेरी बात. जिम्बाब्वे का ऑटोमेटिक क्वालिफिकेशन है. बाबर आजम के एक सेंचुरी तो पक्का है. तो उसके लिए तुम लोग आप
oh,
लोग वैसे भी एक पोस्ट बना लीजिए. और इस वर्ल्ड
yeah,
कप में तो
and
सेंचुरी होने नहीं
Nepal
वाला
has
है.
qualified for the T20 World Cup. So another
हाँ,
good news.
तो उसमें
Don't be
एक 50
upset,
तो
guys.
पक्का है. तो
Yeah.
एक 100 का
50
स्ट्राइक
double
रेट में एक 50 तो
century.
आ रहा है.
Iftikhar Chacha will score double century against Nepal.
हाँ, तो वैसे तो सेंचुरी तो आ रहे हैं आप लोगों के लिए. तो मान लीजिए कि नेपाल के साथ 50, कनाडा के साथ एक और 50 मान लो, और यूएसए के साथ एक और 50, 350 तो कंफर्म है किंग बाबर का.
Yeah,
मैं
and I
बोल
think
रहा
we
हूँ.
shouldn't consider US as a small team. Able, they're a big country, big power, nuclear power. I think scoring 100 against them is a big deal.
अरे यार, रशिया भी आके क्रिकेट खेलेगा क्या? तू बोल
No,
देगा
no.
रशिया बड़ा
I
न्यूक्लियर
feel
पावर
I
है.
feel Jerin, that is not the problem. That is not going to be the problem. Scoring 50 is not going to be a big deal, but scoring 100 is going to be a big deal. But because I don't think in 20 overs still you will have enough time for Babar Azam to get that century.
He has
But
scored. He has T20 centuries. Yeah. Does he
yeah,
not?
but
Yeah,
you have to
yes,
consider the
yes,
teams.
yes, yes. कितने लोग का पास T20 centuries है
Oh,
on
I think he
cases?
has a century against Australia as well, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, he has century against England while chasing 200.
Very tough pitch to bat on. I think it was one of the toughest pitches I had seen Pakistan chasing in when he's got the
No,
century
I
against
mean,
England.
He had
so
T20 में सेंचुरी है, कराची किंग्स
when
के लिए भी है, वो उसका नाम क्या है, एलपीएल में जो भी टीम के लिए खेला
नहीं
था
नहीं
उसमें
कराची किंग्स के लिए नहीं है. Babar Azam really struggles for Karachi Kings. I think Karachi are going to throw Babar. I don't know whether Pakistan is going
Karachi
to.
is no, it doesn't play for Karachi, he plays for Peshawar Zalmi now.
yeah,
Yeah,
He
yeah.
got traded
he
off.
went from Karachi to
Yeah,
Peshawar Zalmi
actually,
because he was
you
having
know,
a torrid
in
torrid
our
time.
league, in our country, our main players don't get traded off until and unless you're pretty trash. Like you should be Mayank Markanday level. He got again traded off last evening.
No,
I
I
don't know
don't
which
think he
team
was
he's gone
traded
to.
because of his batting abilities. I think it was his captaincy abilities, and
Oh,
I
Mayank
feel okay. Yeah,
Markanday.
Babar Azam is trash in terms of captaincy.
I'm talking Mike Markanday here. In our league, players only get traded when they are not fit to play for the team. So that's the difference. Abel did Shinwari dirty. I mean, he
Aaron
didn't do
Finch is
anything.
going to take offense to that, Evil.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
No, Abel has a score to settle with Aaron Finch. He played for RCB as well, yeah. So
He played for all
he's-
the teams, bro. There is no
no, he
team
didn't
in
play for
that
any
Aaron
of them.
Finch
Uh,
doesn't
Chennai.
play for.
you guys know where did Mayank Markanday end up in the trade? I mean, last evening he was traded. So I'm not
Was
sure.
he?
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
traded.
yeah. He was traded to Hyderabad and he started off brilliantly,
No,
but
no,
then
no,
fizzled off.
recently. Yesterday evening from Mumbai Indians, he was traded. So I'm not sure which team he's gone to.
I mean, as far as
Mike
I can
Markanday
see,
Guys,
was.
there's
no,
nothing.
there were
There's nothing
reports.
given yet.
So there were reports of RCB and Punjab Kings. So just have to confirm that once. So once
I
that
think
comes out,
then
we'll
we'll
talk
have
about
some more ammunition for RCB with the ball.
it. Yeah, hardcore spinner. वैसे भी तुम लोग कोलकाता
अगले
लोग
साल कप नाम दे.
इस साल that's अगले साल only. But we'll get it. Just twist the tagline a little bit here or there. But
Yeah,
वैसे भी
sure.
I'd love to have
I just
Pakistani
want to
players.
say that Dhoni won the IPL on one leg. RCB is yet to win, but that hatred is for the season to
No,
come.
but Maxwell won the game for Australia in one leg. I think he can do the same for RCB.
I think
sometime.
Sandeep Ali sent me a beautiful meme today.
I sent
I
it to
just
Abel as
said
well.
like Virat is
saw
Virat Kohli being sodium, and I think it was chloride the other one.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
when they come
chlorine.
together in RCB, sodium
Yeah,
chloride
yeah,
becomes salt.
yeah. I
Also
saw that. It
something
was
that
all
Shinwari
something.
is today. Shinwari, I just want to say Tata Salt is a very good brand. It's Indian.
टाटा सॉल्ट
Right.
नहीं मिलता वहाँ पे.
I know, but I mean, expensive चीजें मिलती नहीं है. I know, but try
हाँ.
कर. कहीं से लेके आ.
लेके
Chances
आ
of him getting Tata Salt table is more than Pakistan qualifying. So
But I
Yeah.
hoped New Zealand hadn't won so convincingly. If New Zealand would have chased it down, say 35-40 overs, Pakistan would have still been with some chances of making it through, say a 15 over win or
imagine
20
if
over win.
with 287 runs to win, they have to win in 287 runs with 16 balls. There are still journalists going on about that it's possible. It's possible. It's possible. Imagine if that's the case.
Even
Imagine
if it was 600 runs difference, they would have still said it's possible. So that's
Shaheen Shah Afridi is going to come to ball tomorrow, pick up 6
I think
wickets on the
that
first over.
this is
Yeah,
this
I
is
think
how
this is
we
the
can
best
sum
moment
it up.
happening.
Dillo team has no Solulu, and that's it. It's just
I think the Sululu is to get rid of the Delulu.
yeah,
But I
absolutely.
think
mean,
congratulations to New Zealand for bouncing back after 4 losses on the trot, even though they beat Sri Lanka, who are pretty much
I
broken
mean,
itself.
congratulations New Zealand for ending the trash called Kudrat Ka Nizam, which is annoying. Trust me. It's
No,
it's
I
very-
wouldn't go on to say that because not just Kudrat Ka Nizam, they have also, absolutely spoiled Afghanistan's chances as well.
Yeah.
Afghanistan would have still somewhere
See,
been
but at least
hoping.
Afghanistan knew the fate was in their own hands. They let it go. And if they would have won that game against Australia, fate was in their own hands to possibly decide. And we would have been talking about Afghanistan
I mean,
to beat
Pakistan had the thing in their own hands for 5 or 6 games, and they lost whenever they had the thing on their own hands.
You
they
know, in
lost all
that
those
game,
games.
there was a particular stage in that Afghanistan versus Australia game. If they had gotten that, if they had got that Maxwell catch, if they would have capitulated Australia to 130 odd,
Yeah,
they
exactly.
would have been
150
just
runs. I think
behind
they would have.
New Zealand's NRR. And
Yeah.
with any sort of win against South Africa, I mean, that would
They
have
would have qualified.
already made them qualify. But that would have also, bolstered the NRR to a large extent. So, all in all, Afghanistan will be regretting big time more than Pakistan.
And also, I think I'm really sad that we won't get to see dance on Dil Dil Pakistan from the sports team. I was looking
Trust
forward to it.
me, that guy, Mickey Arthur, absolute trash. He came out saying that we feel like we are in a COVID bio bubble. I mean, this is the same team
Oh
which
yeah.
asked for more security in India, say that we have security concerns, so we can't play in certain venues.
I think
Now
he's
they
a
have
joke
come
at
and
this
said
point.
sport
I think
biobubble.
Mickey
I
Arthur
mean,
and Pakistan
no.
should
I
have
mean,
played
trust me, it should
online
be
World
set
Cup
back to
today this
online. I
time.
mean, how does it feel like when you're playing cricket in Pakistan then? Does he go around the streets all day?
He does not go to Pakistan when Pakistan is playing. He's an online coach.
I think they should have played. I think if they played real cricket or cricket 23, 24 that came out this year, I think they had a very good chance because online is what is Mickey Arthur's speciality. Give
Yeah.
him a
Totally.
controller, give him an internet connection, and bang, he creates a world
I
number
mean,
one team.
when Mickey Arthur himself is saying nobody cares about it, he's one guy who's made a lot of excuses
Yeah,
throughout
yeah.
this World Cup, and the worst
He's
thing I
one
heard
guy who
was we
has
feel
made
like
quite a
even
lot of money as well.
yeah, we feel like it's a bio bubble. The guy who's sitting as an online coach is scared to go to his the own country he's coaching, and on top of that, the same team who begged and wrote a letter to ICC to change the venue from Chennai because they're scared to play Afghanistan on a turning wicket. And on top of that, they were very clear that we can't play in Mumbai or Ahmedabad against India because we're scared of the security. When you give them security, they have all the crying in the world to do. It's not because of cricket. They have
No,
cried throughout the World Cup. Crowd is the reason why they've lost. Security is the
yeah.
reason why they've lost.
I mean, I just
Because
saw a tweet.
we don't like the hotel food. We are supposed to order from Swiggy. That's the reason we have lost.
Yeah.
Can't believe a team has made
Yeah,
so
and
many
I think you should
I'll
have
just be
given
frank.
the
I
world
just saw
number
another
one
tweet.
team what they deserved and what they wanted. I think it was bad on BCCI's point and India's point. Why did the crowd go on to cheer for Pakistan's game? I think it should have been an empty stand where there wouldn't have been any disturbance. Only Dil Dil
Except for
Pakistan playing.
Spotify playing Dil Dil Pakistan on repeat.
Yeah, exactly, and that is how
Well,
Pakistan
that
would have
song is
won the
not there
World
on
Cup.
Spotify. Check.
It's not. Maybe it's not there in India. I suppose that's Geo.
No, it's
Mark.
not there anyway. It's not recognized Spotify
It's
song.
not. Oh, is it? I mean, that's. I don't know. Probably some local Pakistani app then. But my point being, I just saw a tweet right now about them asking Spider Cam to focus on the coin being tossed in the air.
Yeah. I mean, let's just be honest. If you're playing sport, ladies and gentlemen, kids, if you're playing sport, don't make excuses. This is how you shouldn't play sport. And if you're losing, accept it,
No,
go
make
home
excuses
and
and then
cry.
the whole world will make fun of you.
Don't sit
I
here and
think
make
everybody
a
needs
joke
some
out of
memes at
yourself.
the end of the day.
You're a whole cricketing legend community. Hassan Rasa, another delusional guy who's sitting there and talking about how we've changed the pitch in between the drinks break. Is he even out of his mind? I mean, what is he high on? I have no idea. But let's
And
be
I
very
think
clear.
people like Hassan Raza, we should not call them cricketing legends and not even legend. I don't even consider him a cricketing player
No, he
because
played
if you can
7
be so.
matches. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was just going
yeah,
over
yeah,
his
yeah.
stats. He's not played a lot of games. He's played
He has
7
nothing
test
to
matches,
show for.
16
I mean,
one-day matches.
that was his only attempt at being relevant. You see a Mohammad Hafiz saying all these things so that PCB gives him a job or a better position.
Mohammad Hafiz's entire career batted at a strike rate of 77. And he's talking about Virat Kohli not scoring a century at a strike rate of 100 plus. I mean, yesterday when Ben Stokes scored a century, he said this is what we call selflessness. I mean, Michael Vaughan did reply to that, but
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is, these guys.
Michael Vaughan has realized whom to target. It shouldn't be Wasim Jafar. It should be. I mean, he'll get away with
Yeah, I
trolling of
think
Mohammad
he's.
Hafiz.
Yeah, I think he's picked the softer
By the
target.
time Muhammad Hafiz learns what he has tweeted, it'll take him time, you know.
I
He'll have
think
to keep it
Wasim Jafar
translated.
was really bullying Michael Vaughan, so he decided to
See,
go and bully
Wasim Jafar and
Mohammad
Michael Vaughan
Hafiz.
was a very high level banter. Here,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
see banter.
I see
Here
a
he's
clear
taken
winner.
offense. He's taken offense.
Yeah.
Yesterday
I
in the
think
channel,
it takes
he was
some
like
time
गोरे
for
लोग
Mohammad Hafiz.
हमेशा ऐसा मजाक उड़ाते हैं इन लोगों के पास कल्चर नहीं है
No,
वैसे
no,
नहीं है
I think they don't really understand. I honestly understand. I understand from where Mohammad Hafiz is coming from because it is difficult for them to understand jokes. It is difficult for them to understand English and to have that intelligent quotient to understand what the meme refers to. I think for that you need quite a lot of education, and I don't think they have had plenty. I think they
agree.
lack in education. A
I
player
agree.
who says that the team after first innings are changing ball, forget about education. He needs some coaching on his physical education classes as well.
I don't know how these guys played cricket, man. How can you change a pitch in between a game? I mean, that's ridiculous. And he's like DRS tracker, leg stump में वाला pitch, left arm spinner कैसे बाहर लेके जा सकते हैं ball? Are you out of your mind, Hassan Raza? Left arm spinner हमेशा ball बाहर ही लेके जाता है, थोड़ी ना अंदर लेके आता है. I mean, this
I think
guy-
that is the way. I mean, he says what he used to know when he was playing cricket, and that is why the stats that
There's
he
a
has
same
to show for
country
himself.
whose main legend doesn't know the full form of LBW. Leg before wicket
Yes,
kya hota
yes. There's a so I will give context to this. There is a reality TV show where one of the hosts says that he would have been LBW leg before wicket. Sorry, he says leg before wicket if Shahid Afridi was bowling to him, and Shahid Afridi is like, "ये leg before wicket क्या होता है? What is this leg before wicket? खुद से मत बनाओ चीजें." These are
Shahid
exactly what
Afridi
he said.
has had a really short career. I mean, he was what 16 at one point, and then he remained 16 for the rest of his career, and he's still in his sweet 16. So I think he did not
I
have
think
enough
he's playing the
experience
PSL
to
next
promote
season,
himself.
isn't it?
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
still
he'll
playing
play
the
the next
PSL.
season of PSL. I
I
think he'll
mean,
play till
Dwayne
his
Bravo is still playing.
I
grandson
think
comes
it's
on to
the
play.
only league where father-in-law and son-in-law plays in one league at the
I
No,
same
think
even
time.
you're
the
setting the
coaches of
standard too low. I think
you have to see the
Shahid Afridi
coaches
is
of the
going to play
other
with his
teams.
grandson
Right?
or granddaughter. I think that should be
People
the
who
level.
are people who are coaches in IPL play for these teams in PSL. That's all I'm saying.
Come on, man. Iftikhar Ahmed already has a
I am not
grandson or
surprised why
granddaughter for
Mike
all
Essen got
we know.
recruited in PSL now. I mean, he deserves a tag anyways. Now that he got Islamabad United coaching job, I think that's a downgrade for him. Trust me, it is. Mike Essen is way better than that.
I think Shahid Afridi is still too young to retire. I think he'll play with his grandson, granddaughter. And for all we know, Iftikhar Chacha may already have a grandson or granddaughter
I think
who is waiting
we've
for to
become
come
this
to it.
toxic Indian fans now, just ranted on Pakistani fan base. But you know what? Come on, the
I mean,
Twitter.
we had
You
to
go,
rant because if
yeah, go over
we don't
Twitter.
talk. They are sitting there, sitting on TVs and making
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a
No, I agree.
huge
It's completely
thing
justified. I
about
would
this.
say this has
Yeah, I mean, we
become.
had to take it up.
I never had any issues with Pakistan cricket. I was a very neutral Pakistan cricket fan. I'm not talking about Pakistan as a country and their policies. I've been very vocal
Jen
about.
had
I've been
a
open
Pak
vocal about
flag
it.
apparently.
But just talking about Pakistan cricket, I've always felt politics and cricket shouldn't match. Then I
Yeah.
opened Twitter, I discovered Twitter, and I realized why they
And
get
when you
all the
talk
hate.
about Pakistan and cricket, politics and cricket is the only point that is matching, and that is the only reason why PCB is
Yeah, I mean,
in
it
this
was
stage, and
all
the
fine
Pakistan
for
cricket
me
is
for
in this stage.
Pakistan. In terms of if they would have appreciated good cricket, we appreciate good cricket when they
Yeah,
play. We absolutely love that Fakhar Zaman knock. I mean, here we don't sit
Yeah,
and
yeah,
say Fakhar Zaman had a spring inside his bat or bloody
we
Leeson
don't do
inside the
that
bat
stuff.
that we put the balls in Chinnaswamy second tier. We appreciated that knock. But there, they even went on to say Rohit Sharma is using Vaseline in the bat for better ping. That's what Hassan Ruka
Vaseline.
took. Can't believe it. So
I think I try and
My
stay away
God.
from Twitter as much as I can. I mean,
So
just I
this
go
is
for
Dude,
not in Twitter.
I think
I
I just
agree if
realized,
a
guys.
normal
So
fan on Twitter
I'm
was doing
announcing
this.
it right here
This
now, guys.
is Mohammad Hafiz. This is Abdul Rasaq. This is Hassan Rasaq, and all these guys. This is the same guy, Abdul Razak,
Guys,
who
I
told
just
that
have to.
गली
Yeah.
गलियों में विराट कोहली मिलता है हमारा देश में गली गलियों में जसप्रीत बुमराह जैसे बॉलर्स को हम मारते
बस
हैं
ढूंढने की देरी है.
हाँ ढूंढने के
No,
लिए
I think I'll be frank, guys. I'm announcing it right now. I'm gonna go ahead, apply Vaseline to my cricket equipment. Next year, T20 World Cup, I'll be the captain of Indian team. That's what's gonna happen, and I'm gonna prove Hassan Raza right. Next year, guys,
And I think
all the lines that are
Emil can
happening,
probably get
I'll
in
be
some
like
sources
Ashwin.
for that ball,
I'll be like
for the
Ashwin.
new
I'll be
ball that
sitting in the
swims.
Indian team hotel, and I'll be doing the interviews because I've applied Vaseline on my bat. I
yeah
don't know
by
how
the
to
way they
bat.
also did mention there's a remote control chip inside the ball which helps this ball to swing
Yeah.
better so
Get
this
hold
is
of that
like
ball, Emil. I think that is the
AI
thing that you
level
need
man
for your
AI
Indian
level
column.
stuff
I think
Jason
what
has
Wasim
remote
Akram said is right. Don't insult. You can insult yourself. Don't insult the country.
The country, and
yeah
I don't think this is what majority of the Pakistani I mean experts do. I think you can handpick them. Mohammad Hafiz, Hassan Raza, Abdul Razak.
Oh, Mohammad Asif, he's the same guy who told Virat Kohli bottom-handed player है तो उसे रन नहीं बन पाएगा जिंदगी
He
में.
is the same guy
How
who
does
took
it
money to ball
backtrack?
no balls. He is the same guy who took money to ball no balls. I mean,
We
talk about
also
integrity from a player like that.
didn't he also say that you shouldn't betray your mulk? Mulk
No,
को धोखा
yesterday
नहीं
I saw
देना
something
चाहिए.
very funny on YouTube. The Salman Butt channel. Someone was like, आप लोग PKMB है. And he's like, PKMB क्या होता है? He's like, पाकिस्तान का मैच न्यूजीलैंड के साथ हो सकता है PKMB. That is what PKMB. You know what PKMB? That Pakistan की dash dash dash. So.
No,
No,
I
no,
think
but
there are
I feel you
few
shouldn't.
channels that I really think push this kind of narrative. because they know. See, I'm not saying there are not channels like that in India. There are a few channels like that in India as well, but they don't do sports. That's
Yeah.
the one good thing about those channels. They don't do sports. They do only politics. These channels,
And
however,
I
in
don't
Pakistan,
understand this. When was the last?
push.
Okay, forget about
Yeah.
the absurd media. I mean, some of the absurd channels. I don't see anybody in India who are covering sports go on to say stuff like there was some probably spring in the bat of the player who was batting. If there is good cricket, people appreciate it. People
Yeah,
just go on
we
and
are
say,
here to
yeah,
appreciate Babar Azam. We
or you
love the
can
way
go
how
on and
training
criticize
balls
our own
against South
country. We do
Africa.
that after the T20 live. We came in, we spoke about in detail, probably 1.5 hour 2 hours in length about what went wrong for us in the last ICC tournament, what has been going wrong. I think I see a lot of sports channel do that instead of blaming others or pointing fingers at others. And I mean, if you can logically point fingers at others, it's still fine. Sri Lankan crowd, they have the right to say, well, what Shakib Al Hasan did was not right for the game of cricket, was not in the integrity of the game. But you can't go on and say what New Zealand, what Trent Bolt did to Sri Lanka today. How can he come and pick up 3 wickets in the
Yeah,
first
there
spell?
was a lot of abuses on Sri Lankan fans as well. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't believe that a team is doing this. You wanted Angelo Matthews to be your hero last evening, Madhushankar to pick up wickets, and all of a sudden you have turned your faces around. That's the whole reason. I mean, I'll just answer that question which was put up by Azil again. They really do not deserve to be there. At the end of the day, they expected weather, people, everything to work in their favor. They had made a chart on Pakistan's possible qualification. It started from October 31st, if I remember, and it went on till today, but it wasn't to be. One day it was supposed to end. And I kept telling you, even in the preview, one day it'll end and it'll hurt you so bad. So that's why you don't have hopes. When you raise your hopes like this, what's going to happen? Does Afghanistan stand any chance of semi-final? Absolutely not.
400
438 runs is what
plus.
they have to win by.
They have to win by 400
And I
plus
think they
runs, if
had
I'm not
everything
wrong.
under their control. Even if they would
And
have
if they're
won by one
chasing,
run against
yeah,
Australia, even if they would have won by one
yeah,
run against Australia, they would have still got through with one win
Yes,
against
yes,
South
yes,
Africa.
yes. Yeah,
yeah. I
but
mean, at this point in
they
time, if
can't,
they
they can't, they
chase,
can't
they're
win
out
the
of the
game
World
if they're
Cup.
chasing, though.
If,
Unfortunately.
if they're chasing,
So
they're out of the World Cup. Otherwise, 400 plus, they have to defend it. It's just not possible.
absolutely.
I mean, there are South Africa is a team which scores 400 plus, so it's
What
just
if
not
they score 600?
really. Yeah, it's
I think
just really
Afghanistan
sad
does not
how
have
it
the
goes to.
potential to score 600 yet. Pakistan,
No,
on
no,
the
no.
other hand, I think they can pull it off.
Yeah,
I think Sri
absolutely.
Lanka will still come back, to be honest.
I think have you
With
guys
time.
if you guys have played street cricket, do you guys remember a rule where there's one batter only? When only one batter remain. I think tomorrow Pakistan should select all ballers and Fakhar Zaman. Give him 10 wickets.
But I think the law of average is going to stick up to Fakhar Zaman as well at some point of time. I think he
I
has
don't
had two good knocks.
see if you look Fakhar Zaman, he scored runs, but can he score against Mark Wood or
And
Will
also, I
Leary?
think Fakhar Zaman scored all those runs because he was getting all the balls out of the middle of the bat, which is a
Yeah,
phenomenal feat. But one odd shot you miss time, and Fakhar Zaman can get out for say a 6 or 7 because he is
yeah,
not that player who plays it safe. You can call a Babar Azam or a Mohammad Rizwan players who play it safe. They go at a strider of 100, 120. But Fakhar Zaman does not have that stability in him. I think he can go on
yeah.
to score 150, 100, 200 odd runs, but he's also that player who can get out for 0
I
or say
agree.
5
I
or
agree.
15 on a
I
day when
agree.
he's not working.
Okay, that's about it from us for tonight. I mean, we've had a long 1 hour chat on everything around the world of cricket, Pakistan, the media, the teams, and whatnot. So
It's
that's it. I mean,
slightly
as we said,
unfortunate that we don't have the rest of the games will not be as interesting as they should be.
yeah.
We
So
already have the
we will
result with the first
join
game.
you guys tomorrow. Obviously, talk about Australia versus Bangladesh. Big game in the context of the World Cup. Just if you
On
look,
the context
Bangladesh
of
they
the
have to
Champions
qualify.
Trophy, yes. For Bangladesh,
Yeah, but
yes.
even in
Also,
context of the
Shakib Al
World
Hasan
Cup,
is
let's
missing.
just hype it up. Nobody's hyping it up enough. So big game,
Yeah.
guys. Join us here. We'll talk
Can the
about it.
Bangla Tigers eat the kangaroos or something like that?
Kangaroos of
Can the
Australia.
Bangla Tigers, emulate their feat of 2005?
It'll be big if Bangladesh wins. So we'll hope that Bangladesh wins and destroy
No, we
Australia's
will not hope
confidence.
Bangladesh. We will be neutral.
Yeah. If Bangladesh wins, it'll be something interesting for the World Cup. This World Cup has been pretty.
If
Yeah, I
Bangladesh
mean,
wins, I think Champions Trophy, Bangladesh will already
To be
qualify if they
honest,
win.
on October 20th, we knew who the four semifinals were going to be, but it was just a long extension of
It was
what is
like this unwanted twist, where everything just comes together at the end of the day. It's
you
like
know who the
all
villain
this,
is, but then you are put in just random characters just to
yeah,
confuse you here and there.
yeah,
But
yeah.
ultimately
Like a
who is,
plot line here and there. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Let's
just yeah.
hope. I mean, I'm still nervous for the semifinals. I'll be very honest. As
But
I
we didn't
said,
talk.
yeah, we'll come to
We
it when
go
we
again.
cross the bridge.
We go again, boys. We go again. So that's
Here
how it
we
is.
go
But I
again.
think I think honestly there is some sort of interest in terms of the Champions Trophy rankings, because even if Bangladesh lose, they cannot lose by a certain margin to stay atop of Sri Lanka, because right
Yeah.
now Sri Lanka and Netherlands are the two teams according to Net 100 who are going out, and Sri Lanka
Yeah.
can't improve that. So Bangladesh shouldn't topple down below 1.4. So I think
Okay.
they shouldn't lose.
Who plays the morning match day after tomorrow? By the way,
Morning match day after
I think
tomorrow
it's South Africa, right?
Yeah,
is
South
it?
Africa plays it. Yeah.
I think South Africa
No,
versus
sorry,
Afghanistan is tomorrow,
tomorrow is South Africa versus Afghanistan. Yeah, Australia
and the
versus
morning match
Bangladesh
is
is in the morning.
Bangladesh versus Australia.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
tomorrow. Yeah.
So
Correct.
Afghanistan will need to win by 410 runs. Tomorrow we
Wait,
can see
tomorrow there's only
probably.
one match.
Yeah.
Tomorrow only one match. Yeah.
Day after tomorrow you have Australia
Today
versus.
is Thursday, right? So tomorrow is a Friday, but then Saturday you have two matches.
Oh yeah. Tomorrow's South Africa, Afghanistan.
See, that's the thing.
So,
So when you don't go to college, you don't know the day, you don't know the date, just
yeah,
having fun.
correct. Done with college.
God damn it,
I
I'm
think I'm
jealous of
confused
you.
as tomorrow is Saturday. But yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one more game.
Emil
Hopefully
is
South
spending
Africa
his
loses
days
that.
analyzing cricket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am hoping Afghanistan will score 750 runs and ball South Africa out for 300. It's possible though. Why don't you
Possible.
guys see it?
Quite possible.
12 runs and over, 15 runs and over.
I think Kudrat ka Nizam might work in that sense as well. Who knows?
Yeah, might just. All right. Good night.
All right, guys. Yeah.